Welcome. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. My name is Nada St. Germain, and I'm so grateful to have our holistic nutritionist with us this evening, Mary Ellen, that's going to be joining me and helping you understand the importance of a healthy gut that'll give you a healthy you. I didn't understand the importance of gut and digestion until actually a few months after getting on the Neolife products. And a bit of my history, I was working as a police officer in the city, and I had fatigue and hormonal issues and joint pain and allergies. I struggled with allergies to a point where I was using antihistamines pretty much year round. And I started taking some of the products, and energy came back. Hormones were balanced, no more PMS. But it wasn't until I went to my first talk on digestion that I linked my gut health to my allergies. So big relationship. And once I healed my gut, and I have to say that it's been 33 years now. I no longer have any allergies. I can have cats around me. It was where before I would stop breathing. So it's very important to make sure your plumbing is working, to make sure your gut's in check, because it does play a really important role in immune function. And I know once we go through the presentation this evening, it's just going to give you a better understanding on how you can, balance things in your digestive system and just get things working the way they should. So what does poor digestion look like? Well, some of the things that can happen is the heartburn and flatulence. I like to say northern gas and southern gas. So a lot of discomfort in the tummy area, like bloating and diarrhea, constipation, and just having an upset stomach. So these are some signs and symptoms that you have trouble in that area. And some of the things that can happen is, do you feel tired right after you eat? Are you having irregular bowel movements, like less than one a day? Do you have to strain when you have a bowel movement? Have you been on antibiotics in the last year? Have you suffered from yeast infections in the last year? And do you frequently experience bloating after a meal? So these are some of the signs that you might have a faulty digestive system. So factors that impact or impair healthy digestion. So some of the things that you want to look at are your eating habits, right? Some of the foods that you're eating, aging, stress, excess alcohol consumption, smoking, illness and disease, the use of certain drugs such as antibiotics, and even genetics. So why do we have this kind of bloating, this burping and kind of this acid coming back up, which is kind of linked to heartburn or GERD, they call it. Well, it's really linked to too little hydrochloric acid and low stomach acidity, overburdened of enzyme supply, too little lactase, unbalanced intestinal flora, not enough fiber. Stress also induces this imbalance. Overeating. Undigested food feeds bacteria in the colon, and it causes gas, bloating, and discomforts. So that's why when you eat too fast or you overeat, then you're not giving your body enough time to break down and digest those foods, which again can cause that discomfort. So Mary Ellen, I'd love for you to come on board now and just share a little bit about why digestion is important.
Yeah, thank you, Nada, for asking me to share, because I know when I meet people, and especially when they're dealing with health issues, I often ask them, how long have you had tummy troubles or bloating or gas? And it's years. And because you think about it, if we're not digesting our food, our body's starving, right? So here's some of the facts. The diet is what we put in our body, something you swallow, right? But what nutrition is, that's what our cells actually receive. And the definition of digestion, it's actually the process by which foods are broken down into those nutritional building blocks that the body can use. So we have to break down like proteins into amino acids, so that we can actually use it. Because if we can't break it down, it just passes through. It's just kind of like, you're pouring water in a tube, right? It just goes right through. So what's the impact? Well, your nutritional status is only as good as your digestion. So your body's ability to break down foods into nutrients your cells can use. So you can have the best diet in the world, and if you're not digesting, you could be in malnutrition, like massive malnutrition. And if this system's not in good working order, like I said, even a good diet doesn't do us very much good. So it's really, really important for us to break it down. And is this a problem? Absolutely. When you look at this, according to the World Health Organization, the third most common cause of cancer is stomach cancer. 6 out of 10 people diagnosed each year are 65 and older, and the lifetime risk of developing stomach cancer is higher in men. It's actually 1 in 96 than women, which is 1 in 152. But still, that's a lot. And a lot of that is caused from what Nada was talking about, that GERD, where that acid comes up, burns the esophagus, and that's what predisposes you to stomach cancer. So who has this poor digestion? Well, over 20 million Canadians suffer every single year. And 1 in 3 people experience some sort of digestive issues throughout the day. And you can tell, oh, I can't eat that. And we have to understand it's not the food, it's us. If we can't break down the food, that's the problem. And I know a lot of women, especially with, their monthly cycles and stuff, they say 91% of them have bloating, diarrhea, cramping, or at least once a month. And 55% of them have these experiences every day. And I hear this all the time, that people have, like, oh, my stomach's bloated. Some of them even say they look down and they can actually see their stomach grow. Like, it bloats so bad. That's how uncomfortable they are. And you feel terrible, right? You can even, and they're very thin people, but when you have a bloaty stomach, you don't feel good. So what's those 6 stages of nutrition? Well, as I mentioned, the first stage is diet. That's everything we put into our body, including supplements. Stage 2 is digestion. That's the process of breaking those foods down. And that's what we're going to really focus a lot on tonight. But if we can't digest, then we can't absorb. And that's where things go into the cells, right? Then we have to circulate it through the body and assimilate it into the cells, right? And then, of course, the last stage is elimination, which is a crucial stage as well. And that's actually very important for the digestive system as well. So when you look at the overview, what does the mouth do? Well, that's where we start chewing up the food. And, some people say you should chew your food so many times. I say just chew it as much as you can until you get it like really ground down. Because what it has to do, it has to mix with the saliva, because you start combining enzymes, which start breaking down the carbohydrates. And then it goes into the stomach. And that's where the food is broken down into even smaller particles by mechanical, chemical, and enzymatic means, which converts the food into what they call chyme, which is like a mass that goes into the intestines. So that chyme moves down there, and it has to be the right acidity, because this is where certain enzymes are triggered. So if you don't have the right acidity, those enzymes aren't triggered, and digestion stops at that stage. It's almost like an assembly line, right? And so if it is triggered, then digestion is completed and absorption begins. And then all this leftovers go into the colon. The food waste, the metabolic waste are sent here. Water is removed. In water, waste is concentrated, stored, and excreted. And this is very, very important to get rid of these toxins out of the body, a very important stage. And so Nada, do you want to share with us some healthy digestion 101 tips?
Absolutely. Let's try to simplify this a little bit. You know what, Mary Ellen? Like I said, that whole system is quite complicated, and if it's disrupted, it really can cause a challenge to our immune system. And one thing we do have to look at is our food choices. We need to make better food choices, proper breakdown and absorption of nutrients, good balance of healthy gut flora. These are all the things that our digestive system depends on. We got to make sure that there's that balance of that good bacteria. And you hit it on the nail when you said healthy elimination. I mean, once a day is good, but 2 to 3 times a day is excellent. And I remember talking with a dear friend of mine when I met her over, my goodness, 25 years ago. As a little girl, her mom was told that, oh, it's okay that if she only goes to the bathroom once a week, that's normal for her. Well, that is not normal for anybody. And because of all those years of not taking care of that condition, she developed a condition called diverticulitis that we're going to be talking about. So it's really important that you have that healthy elimination, fluffy floating. We always say fluffy floating every single day. Okay. So what happens though, how do people address some of these symptoms sometimes? Well, they don't really, they mask it. right? A lot of people end up just masking it with antacid, acid blockers, and laxative. And laxative, and that can cause even more damage. It might make you feel a little bit better at the time, but it's really causing damage down the road. And the over-counter medicine market, a gastrointestinal medicine, is the third largest mega category, contributing approximately 4.2 billion in sales annually. So do you think people have tummy troubles? Absolutely. There's so many people out there today. So we really want to, just say no to these, but because there is a better way. There's a way that you can help this condition so you don't have to resort to taking some of these antacids. So let's look at the diet. That also plays a really big role. More fresh fruits and vegetables, legumes, whole grains, a diet that's low in high fat foods. Stay away from preserved, cured, and salted foods, red meat. Some of the problem foods that bother you, it's good to kind of, stay away from them until you can get this condition controlled. And, why would you trust, supplements? And that's a big thing, because there's a lot of products out there that say they're going to do something, but you just don't know, the science behind the product. And, Neolife, has a scientific advisory board that has created a product line of digestive aids to provide complete and balanced support for the entire system. So again, products that don't just mask the problem, they really address the problem. And it feels so great when you start improving your gut. The stories and the testimonials that come from people are absolutely incredible. So they are formulated, again, to support the natural digestive processes. They address the underlying causes of digestive trouble, not just the symptoms, and they're safe and gentle. And that's really important. And they use only the finest ingredients, and they work. You're going to hear some stories. Now, Mary Ellen, there's a couple of products that are targeted and that really help with our digestive system. If you want to just come on board and share.
Yes, remember I talked about the stomach, how it's so important to break down the food to turn it into the chyme. Well, this is where the Beta-Gest plays a role. This is plant-based. It's actually sourced from beets, and it supports the body's natural digestive process. And as you talked about earlier, Nada, a lot of the problem is not that people have too much acid, it's that they don't have enough acid. So this provides controlled release hydrochloric acid. It's 100% plant source, acid stable enzymes, and it breaks down protein and lactose. Lactose is what's in milk. That's why you hear a lot of people say, oh, I can't drink milk, I'll bloat, I'll feel uncomfortable, I'll get diarrhea. Well, that's because they can't break down the lactose in the milk. So this again addresses the causes of digestion, not the symptom, and it maximizes that potential and absorption of nutrients. And you think about it, if you're not absorbing in your stomach, you can't absorb minerals, you're not killing bacteria. It's so important that you have the proper acid in your stomach. And that's the problem with a lot of these over-the-counter drugs that stop the acid. Now you're not digesting. And one of the side effects is osteoporosis. And they're even talking about dementia now too, with a lot of these acid stopping drugs.
So you could actually be eating all those great foods that are healthy for you, Mary Ellen. And because you're not utilizing the nutrients, your cells are actually starving. Like you're almost like you're malnourished.
Yeah. And if you don't get the stuff working in the stomach, what happens? It dumps into the intestines. And that's why people bloat. And this is where enzymes play a huge role, because again, they support that. That's where most of our absorption takes place, in our small intestines. And it's potent, broad spectrum. It is actually pH activated. So it works in different systems as it goes through the digestive system. And because it's targeted delivery, it's not destroyed in the stomach. A lot of the enzyme products that people take is destroyed. This gets into the area where it should be, and again, causes that the cause of that intestinal indigestion. So the bloating, the gas, the pain. I met this one gentleman one time, and he said he wouldn't eat at all when he went out, because if he got gut pains, he was done. He couldn't do a thing. And he started taking these enzymes. He says, I can go to parties now, I can eat, I can enjoy life, because eating is very social, right? So it's a real shame if people can't enjoy life and eat food. Do you want to switch it, Nat? And Shelley, could I get you to share your friend Sandra, who has an amazing story on celiac? And of course, that's when you can't take gluten, right? Because gluten becomes toxic to these people, but causes a lot of issues.
Absolutely, Mary Ellen. Thank you. Yes, I met Sandra, and she is celiac and quite severe, and as well as a couple of people in her family as well. And so when I was sharing about the product, you know, she started off with our fruits and vegetable product, the carotenoids, and she really liked those, and they really helped her. And then she was really nervous about our product that we use for, or that helps the cells because it came from wheat, with the grain oils, being celiac. And just reading about it and knowing that it was the oils and not the proteins, she decided to try one of the product with the grain oils, and she was fine with it. So she's been able to get off of, like, she also likes the beta gest and the enzymes for digestion. She's been able to get off of the meds for it. They're no longer even in her house for herself and also a couple of her kids. So she's really, really excited to have been introduced to these products because they have helped her so much with all the bloating and just with digestion, and knowing that they were safe for her as well.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Thank you, Shelley, because that's such a big problem. Because the problem when people are celiac, they're so restricted in what they can eat that they become nutrient deficient in a lot of areas. So if you can fill that gap with supplements, it's great. So this is one of my favorites, the probiotics, right? Because did you know that in our digestive system, we have over 500 types of bacteria. A lot of them are good, and some of them are potentially harmful, because we need to have a balance of that good and bad bacteria all the time. So probiotics are, because pro means good, are a group of naturally occurring good bacteria that protect your health and well-being. They discourage growth of disease-causing bad bacteria. In fact, if you look at on the Traveler's website, when people are traveling, it actually recommends probiotics to help prevent a lot of that Montezuma revenge and issues that people deal with. And so what happens when probiotics are in short supply? Well, of course, the bad bacteria takes over and starts multiplying. And it can cause anything from minor digestive discomfort to more serious problems like gastrointestinal disease. And so what are some more of the benefits of probiotics? Well, they help with immune response, because where's most of our immunity? 80% is in our gut, right? And they help with things like indigestion, infection, diarrhea, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which is that big umbrella that so many people say to me, oh, I've been diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, because the doctor doesn't know what it is. So it falls into that category, right? So as I talked about, it does strengthen immunity because it guards against infection. It promotes a healthy response to foods, especially in infants, because I find a lot of moms now are being put on antibiotics during the delivery. So you think the baby's tract is stripped right at birth. So important to introduce it. And they're finding that it helps reduce allergy symptoms, and it discourages growth of disease-causing bacteria. And it also is so important for the colon, because we're hearing so many people that are being diagnosed with colon cancer, and this actually can reduce the risk of colon cancer, because bacterial enzymes detoxify these cancer-causing substances and support healthy colon cells. And again, that's why elimination is so important, because if those toxins are sitting in the colon, then you have more chance that you're going to get irritation and inflammation and can open you up. Oops, can you go back, Nana? And it improves digestion because it assists the body in the production of enzymes, especially that lactase we talked about. So you think, again, it's all related. All these systems work together. And when adequate lactase is present, lactose intolerance, gas, flatulence, and bloating are minimized. And it helps release nutrients from our food, so we actually absorb more nutrients. It supports a metabolism, which is so important. This is the big word in January, right? Everyone wants their metabolism working. Well, you think about it, a lot of that's from your gut having that good bacteria. And as we talked about, the lactose intolerance and the bacteria and absorption of minerals prevents diarrhea. I had one lady who had what she called it explosive diarrhea. She'd just be anywhere, like in a store, and she couldn't control it. And when she got on the Neolife Acidophilus, it stopped. It got rid of it. So she loved that product. And synthesized.
Yeah. Maybe
vitamins.
can maybe expand on the synthesizes bees, because we're hearing more and more that the gut is also related to stress and anxiety and depression. And I think the bees play a really big role in that, do they not?
Yes, exactly, because a lot of the B vitamins are produced in the gut. So you think if your gut's not working, you're not producing the B vitamins. B vitamins are our happy vitamins. If they're low, you can be prone to depression. Also, it affects it affects digestion, because you need a lot of those B vitamins for metabolism and digestion. And if you look up the Bs, they have so many functions in the body. So it's so important that you're producing them in the gut.
Thank you.
And the difference with the Neolife Acidophilus, like there's so many probiotics out there, and people show me them. They go, "Oh, look at this! It's got, you know, a trillion bacteria." But the whole thing is, a lot of that is at manufacture. Okay, and there's a very popular one out there that everyone knows. It starts with an A, and when you look at it, the Neolife Acidophilus has 5 strains of bacteria. It has like 1. So when you start comparing, it's actually a very expensive product because you're getting so little value out of it. And this is the Neolife one is whole food derived, right? Has active cultures. And that's important. I remember I was in Florida and I was on a beach, and this lady was talking about, oh, I just go to Walgreens and get my acidophilus. But you know what happened? The bacteria was bad, and I ended up with an intestinal infection from the actual acidophilus that she was taking. So I mean, that's not a good deal. You know what I'm saying? And so as I mentioned, this is 5 billion live microorganisms. And so it's really, really different than everything else out there. And the gel guard, that's what makes it, you want to make sure that those good bacteria get down into the right environment. And in the Neolife labs, they actually have a mechanical stomach. They put through all the probiotics, and none of them reached where it should be. But the Neolife one was 99.9% target delivery. And you can see this gel guard enteric system is very, very unique, and it protects the bacteria so they can actually work. And this is why this product works, you know, because if it doesn't get to the intestine, it's just waste, right? So you think one of these acidophilus, people say, well, can I eat it in food? Well, you'd have to eat 10 servings. If you could actually get yogurt with the live bacteria, you'd have to have 10 servings of yogurt to have 1 capsule. So you think when you're doing a cleanse or something, you're taking 6 capsules a day. That's a lot of yogurt, right? You know, you'd be eating yogurt from the moment you woke up. And do you want to share Jaden's story, Nada?
Or yes, I was talking with Serena tonight, and she said she's so grateful that she found Neolife, and she said she wished she had Jaden on these products when she was a little baby, because as a young child, Jaden had suffered from severe constipation her whole life, and they tried so many different things, nothing worked. And then in her 20s, she developed rheumatoid arthritis. So there was, you know, later she realized that there's a big link again to the gut and autoimmune diseases, because if you're not absorbing nutrients. So anyways, Jaden had a hard time even opening up her fingers and even her holding her toothbrush in the morning. So we started Jaden on the Acidophilus and the Aloe Vera that I'm going to be talking about, along with the omega-3s, and an incredible turnaround in her gut, her digestion, her bowels. She was going to the bathroom regularly. And guess what happened shortly after? The inflammation was gone. So she's so grateful that she discovered that the gut played a big role when the healing started. Then other things started to happen and change in her body. So a beautiful story. So I just wanted to share that with you. And you know, when you're looking at stress, I mean, that can really cause a lot of havoc on the body, you know, and if it's not managed properly. So there's external factors like your work, your home, financial trouble. And some of the external factors are nutrition, fitness, rest, and emotional. These can all lead to digestive challenges. And the Aloe Vera Plus that I mentioned that Jaden was taking along with the Acidophilus, our Aloe Vera is a product that you can consume. Tastes great. It does help with like occasional constipation. It's great to have it in your fridge, you know, as a backup, you know, if you're just looking to have something natural in your fridge. But it's great for the immune system, respiratory support. It really soothes the entire digestive system, but it's very calming. So if you're a type of person that has a lot of trouble kind of unwinding at the end of the day and going to sleep, I usually sip on it at night with a little bit of our trade juice as a calming, kind of relaxing product, but it's just wonderful. It does promote healing, balances inflammation, again, reducing stress, which is really important. And they only use the gel portion, so the fillet. It has a herbal tea blend. It has a glycemic edge, so it's naturally sweetened for sustained energy, some vitamin C, and it just balances your electrolytes. It has the potassium and magnesium, and it helps with the metabolism, the quality. Again, only the gel fillet portion. Because a lot of aloes, even on the labels, they don't take if you're pregnant. Well, I took this while I was pregnant because it's a safe product to consume. So it's very, very important. And I'm going to have now Cindy come on board and share her story, because I know the aloe and the Acidophilus were two products that really helped her and our dear friend Amanda. So are you here, Cindy?
Yeah, thank you, Netta. Yeah, I suffered with pain from the neck down, fibromyalgia, but along with fibromyalgia comes, for many people, IBS, which I did suffer with. And I just getting on a basic program helped my digestion a bit. But when I finally decided to try the digestive aids, what a huge difference. You talk about people having not so much bloating, but like gassiness or needing to know where the washroom is, because I did kind of bounce back from some constipation or diarrhea, but yeah, and gas, of course, was a very big thing for me. So yeah, just doing especially the Acidophilus, that was a huge thing for me. And I always keep the aloe in the fridge. Occasionally, if you have tummy problems, but I find, you talked about it being relaxing, so I find that very good for if I can't sleep at night. I'll just have some of that as well. But yeah, I did add the beta adjusting enzymes, but huge, just gave me back my life. Because I just, just dreaded having to go to a bank or any place where I'd be a long lineup. So, but now Amanda there with me, we had met her at, Nada and myself were doing a health show at the airport. And she's a flight attendant. She was a flight attendant. And she had just got off the plane. She suffered with extreme GERD. And anyway, she came up to our booth, and I'm just going to read her little testimony here, because she can't join us tonight, but she was so very skeptical. But she says the first product I tried was the Aloe Vera Plus juice. I was at the airport. It was NAOSH week, and I went down to the event where many vendors were set up, and I looked around. She said, I, just like my mother, have suffered with acid reflux for years. I had dealt with it in the past by taking hydrochloric acid pills, but I stopped taking them for some reason. Now I try to use as many natural healing tools as possible. She said, I had heard about aloe vera juice for my GERD, but I just could not bring myself to drink it. I had tried a few different ones, and it was hard to find ones that weren't loaded with sugar or flavor or color dyes. And she says, and impossible to find one that actually was tasty enough to drink more than one, like once. So when I was standing at the Neolife booth, I was reading an article they had posted about their cleaning detergent. This drew me to the table, but their product is so mild and effective, and used to clean 25,000 penguins after an awful oil spill off of Cape Town, South Africa. But they also tracked a large number of penguins afterwards to ensure that they were able to produce. So, she thought that was a beautiful story. But she says, anyways, I was intrigued. Then I saw their aloe juice and laughed, because at that very moment, I was having the worst acid reflux attack. I had just worked all night, was exhausted, no food other than the late night dinner the night before, and 2 coffees that morning. I was dying. And yet when Cindy offered for me to try it, I immediately said, no, thank you. I was afraid of the taste and having to spit back into the cup with hundreds of people around me while I was in uniform. Cindy informed me that it actually tasted nice, and I laughed. Then she explained that they had removed the aloe plant husk and only used the gel to make the juice, so it was not bitter. So I agreed to try just a tiny bit. And what? I actually loved it. I bought a jug on the spot after having 2 ounces and took it home. I suggested to her, normally, you use about 1 ounce per day, but to drink as many as 3 or 4 at first to calm the reflux. It was only a day and I felt better. A few days later, I felt amazing. I take only 1 ounce now at night to maintain, and because I like the taste as well, and her husband Niden drinks it as well because it helps him to sleep. She says, I was so happy with the aloe vera juice that I started looking into the company, and I found nothing but good reviews and thousands of amazing testimonies. Only 2 weeks had gone by when I spoke with Cindy again and ordered the Pro Vitality Packs, which is a daily vitamin. So she was loving that as well. But yeah, so it's.
And she's still doing amazing. Yeah.
And digestion, like she studied digestion and what is it? What is that called that she was doing with
colonics?
Colonics as well. So she's very passionate about the digestive system.
Yeah, and elimination.
Yes.
Really, really important. Yeah. So, some of the problems, again, when you're looking at elimination, poor food choices, a diet that's low in fiber, which can also cause constipation, irregularity, and discomfort. So one of the other products that's one of my favorites is our fiber, because it's hard to consume a lot of fiber. The average person consumes only half the dietary fiber needed daily for long-term good health. Increased fiber intake with meals can help you feel fuller and lose weight safely and naturally. And boosting fiber also promotes regularity naturally without habit-forming drugs. It's really important, again, to have proper elimination. It reduces the length of time in the GI tract, and so it's less exposed to harmful substances. So it's really important that you're moving things along. And the natural fiber that Neolife has, I love it. I put it in my shake. I put it in my baking. It's wonderful in banana breads and muffins. And it has 5 types of dietary fiber, but compiled from 12 different whole food sources. So it's not just 1 or 2 sources. I know when you buy some of these other fiber products, they're heavy on just one part, but it's complete and balanced with all forms of soluble and insoluble fibers from those whole food sources, especially rich in oat fiber, which is shown by research to particularly support heart health, which is really important as well, and help to remove cholesterol without robbing nutrients. So just a wonderful product again. So if you're looking at increasing your fiber, if you're concerned about this in any way, just a great way to add a little more fiber, and it's naturally sweetened and naturally flavored. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on the Neolax. So we do have a natural herbal laxative. It is part of our detox. I'll let Mary Ellen go into a little more detail on that, but it's gentle and non-habit forming. So if you're needing a bit of a push, a bit of a kickstart, this just helps to move things along if you're looking for a natural herbal laxative. And then the garlic allium is also really important for good gut health, especially if you're concerned about yeast or candida overgrowth in the gut, or if you've been using antibiotics. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as Mary Ellen goes into some of our candida cleanse information, but it's a natural antibiotic. The garlic is a wonderful product, again, to help with natural gut health. And the benefits of garlic. So why Neolife garlic? Well, it's state of the art. It is target delivered. It's not, well, some of these garlic, they say, oh, they're odorless. Well, they remove the allicin, which is the most important part of the garlic. So it's target delivered. It gives you the allicin and it's delivered to the intestine. So another powerful product that we have for gut health and to get things balanced in the intestines. But Mary Ellen, these products are part of our detox. So maybe if you want to share a little bit about some of the top reasons to detox and how this can help also balance and improve our digestive system.
Yeah, I know so many people who do the detox. The first thing they say is their stomach feels better. They feel that it feels flatter. They feel like they're lighter, right? Getting rid of it. Because why? They're removing those toxins from the body. And again, as I mentioned, you get rid of the toxins and you support the gut. It helps your immune system. It jumpstarts your weight loss program, because if you have toxins in your body can, if you go to lose, like if you're losing fat, it releases the toxins, then the body creates more fat. So it's so important. Slows aging, gives you more energy. It helps with headaches and irritability and food cravings. And this is a Neolife detox. It comes in this amazing kit. It has instructions. It's easy to follow. We have support. We have support websites. We have support Facebook groups. So there's it's just a super easy way. You just it's actually 2 days, which is, you know, like anybody can do something for 2 days, right? You can definitely do it. And then day 3, you start rebuilding. So the 5 top reasons, which we talked about, is again getting rid of all those toxins in the air, food and water, prescription meds, alcohol, stress that we're bombarded with all the time. Also for the immune system, because it helps also not just immunity and nervous system, hormones, mood, weight, brain, energy, and heart as well. So very, very important. And as I mentioned, jumpstarts that weight loss program, because the fat cells store those nasty toxins. That's where you get that cellulite too. A lot of that's related to that. Premature aging, you actually age faster, because free radicals and heavy metals accelerate that aging process, and detoxing increases your body's ability to use nutrients better, which is so important. And increased energy, right? Because that a lot, especially this time of year, we haven't seen the sun in like what, 6 weeks or something, right? So many people are so tired. So we need energy, and this is a great way to. This is why at this time of year it's such a wonderful time to do the detox. Mm-hmm. And again, there's the kit. You get the Neolife tea, which each sleeve of tea does 2 cups of tea. That's great for fat burning. And you get all like the Neolax, the garlic, everything that you need to do it. Plus you get 2 shakes for day 3.
Mm-hmm. We've had some great stories this week on the 3-day detox.
As I mentioned, it's only 2 steps. And the whole detox really is just 3 days. And it contains the Neolax, which is the pusher to push out all the toxins, the garlic, which kills the bacteria, the Beta Guard, which was developed by Dr. Arthur First, one of the top toxicologists in the world, and pulls the heavy metals out of the body. And then you do that for 2 days. And then on day 3, you do the Acidophilus to put that good bacteria. And we talked a lot about that already, how important that is. And there's the Neolax. It's kind of neat because it's from 8 different herbs that work synergistically, which means they work together. It's natural, gentle, cleansing, and it encourages normal bowel function, because, you know, a lot of people, like, you know, you think we eat food all day, and if you're just going to the bathroom a little bit every day, that's not enough. And so this is a pure, mild herbal cleanse. And what's nice too, it's not habit forming. So I know a lot of people love using that when they go on vacation too, because, you know, especially you get off track with different foods. And then the garlic, as we talked about, is it's kind of like a natural antibiotic. That's how I think of it. And it's broad spectrum, again, target delivery, and it has 4,200 micrograms of the active allicin. So it's powerful. You know, it really, really works. And there's the Beta Guard, developed by, you know, Dr. First, and detoxifies those harmful agents naturally. And it's a proprietary formulation of vitamins, minerals, and carotenoids, and amino acid chelation. So it's a really so great for allergies too. If people have been through chemotherapy, it helps pull the chemo out of the body. It's a super powerful product. And it's good for liver, brain. People say to me, do you have a liver cleanse, a brain cleanse? This does it all. It's a whole body cleanse. It's amazing. And then here, again, we talked about the probiotics already. And so this is the good bacteria. So this is what you do on day 3. You just start loading that system with the good bacteria. So it really helps. So here's the breakdown of it. On day 1, you take 1 to 2 Neolax a day, 1 garlic, and 3 Beta Guard. And at night, you take 1 to 2 Neolax and garlic for day 1 and 2. And you eat only fresh fruits and vegetables. And we have so many great recipes of detox soups. The things you kind of avoid are the high starchy ones, like bananas and potatoes. You don't want to do those because that slows down the detox. And you drink 12 to 16 ounces of liquid every 2 hours. And Neolife tea is great because it gives you energy, and you can do black tea and black coffee too on the cleanse, because especially if you are a coffee drinker, you don't want to go cold turkey because you will get that wicked headache. So this way you can just have 1 coffee in the morning, but it can't have milk or sugar. And then day 3, we balance and energize. That's when we get to do our delicious Neo-Life shake, which tastes so amazing. And it tastes even better after you've been doing 2 days of the detox. It tastes so good. And it balances the blood sugar. So because we've been, sort of pulling out all the toxins, it's really, really important you get high, biologically complete, good quality protein. And we recommend you do it breakfast and lunch. And in the morning, you take in the Acidophilus and 3 beta guard on day 3, and an Acidophilus at night. And you can do a snack of a Neo-Life bar, or we have a mini meal list you can follow. And then we recommend a second shake as well. And dinner, a healthy, low-fat, high-protein meal like grilled salmon or chicken breasts with some raw or steamed greens or like broccoli, and drink lots of fluids. So it's a very easy program to do, and it's very effective. I know, Michelle, I think your husband lost 8 pounds he just finished up the detox and did really good. Men always lose way faster than women, which is so unfair, but most of them still lose between about 3 and 6 pounds, which is still good. That's, really, really good. So now I want to talk about one of my most favorite subjects, because I find so many people suffer from this, and that's CANDIDA or yeast problems, right? And as we know, normally yeast exists in harmony with other organisms in our body, but something will come along and change that environment, and you get all sorts of symptoms and things that destroy that good bacteria. We all love to have a glass of wine, or, when you're going out for dinner, but alcohol's brutal. Coffee, chips, nachos. I remember Don Lawson saying eating regular nachos can kill 5 generations of good bacteria in your gut. Preservatives in food, chlorine in tap water, lunch meat, all these things destroy our gut. And there's so many problems. And what can it cause? Well, I'm not going to read all these, but you can see there's so many problems. A lot of people brain fog. How many people do you hear say, I feel like I have a foggy brain? You can get depressed. You could be tired, anxiety. I have a lot of people with a lot of chronic sinus infections, bladder infections, even endometriosis is chronic CANDIDA. Arthritis and infertility, all of this could be all linked to that for sure. And so what do we do to fix this? Well, we all have this good and bad bacteria in our colon, and we have to get it in balance. So another big thing I didn't even talk is medication, especially birth control pills, brutal, or antibiotics, right? And bad diet. And also yeast can be passed from the mom through the birth canal. So I have had a lot of babies that have been born with it. So we need to kill that bad bacteria and put back the good bacteria. And we do that with our yeast cleanse, which is one of my most favorite cleanses. So you use only 2 products. You use that garlic that we talked about and the Acidophilus. And some of the foods to avoid to speed up the cleanse are sugar. If you crave sugar, not all people with CANDIDA do crave sugar, but that is a classic sign that you have CANDIDA. And you want to avoid sugars, yeasty breads. You can do a little bit of rye and sourdough. Yeasty crackers. Again, you be careful. Cookies, baked goods, dairy products. Fermented foods such as wine, beer, vinegar, soy sauce, dried fruits, nuts, canned and processed fruit, high in sugar. So those are there is a really strict CANDIDA cleanse that a lot of naturopaths do, but you can't really, if you just do the cleanse and don't kill off this bad bacteria, the minute you start eating again, it comes back. So this goes to the source and kills off the bacteria, and it's not as restrictive and it's easier to follow. So what our goal is after 10 days to have a strong garlic smell in your bowel movement. And that means the yeast has been killed. So after 10 days, if you do not have that, on day 11, you might want to increase your garlic to 7 and increase it for, a while. At least, some people have had to do it 2 to 3, even 4 weeks longer, because they have such an overgrowth of the bad bacteria. And then once at the same time, you're doing 6 Acidophilus every morning. I suggest you want to split them up. You don't want them at the same time. You want the Acidophilus in the morning and the garlic at dinner. And a lot of people, when they're finished the cleanse, will go on like a maintenance where they take 1 Acidophilus every day. And some people take even an Acidophilus and a garlic, depends how bad your problems are. And I know, Shelley, you've had very good success with this program. Would you like to share some of your experience?
Yes, I think CANDIDA was my middle name for a very long time. I grew up eating lots of desserts and having the carbs, and when I got into my 20s and 30s, just really things got out of hand with the yeast infections, and would get cold rashes and a bunch of the things that were on the list, Mary Ellen, that you had shown. And it was passed down to my son, and he started off as a baby having issues and became my carb kid, and sugar as well for him. And he had the other side of it with the jock itch and the heat rash and various things. So when we decided to tackle this, it was a process, I will say for sure. We changed the foods that we were eating, had to decrease, a lot of the carbs, get the sugar cravings out of there. The garlic is one of my favorites with the Acidophilus for sure. And now that I'm all balanced now, and I just feel absolutely amazing. When I do have something that would trigger me, I'm going to say, in terms of the yeast or the cravings, I have my garlic at night, and I'll have my probiotic in the morning, just like you said, Mary Ellen, as that maintenance. So it was a journey, and it really depends on the severity of the candida that you have. But they really, really work on helping the body. And I've seen it myself, and I've also seen it in my son, just in terms of being able to get things, decreased or under control.
Absolutely. And I know Meryl mentioned, I love it because when I've talked to other people that have done other cleanses, they're so hard to do, whereas this is so easy. Such an easy and simple cleanse. So thank you so much for sharing, Shelley. So you know what, when you're looking at cleansing and detoxing and, healing the gut and getting the body working, getting the body healthy, it takes work, right? But when you're looking at the 3 keys to optimal health, you got to look at your diet, you got to look at weight management, you got to look at physical activity. So these are the things, to reach optimal health. But one thing that we really want to focus on is drinking a lot of clean filtered water, because water does help to remove toxins and just move things along. So really important that you're drinking the clean water throughout the day. And when you're looking at supplementing, Marilyn, we talked about all these products, and I mean, why these products? Like, what is it? What's the challenge that we're having out there?
Yeah, there is so many different products out there, and everybody says their product is the best. And some people think, well, if it's in a store, it's safe. But when you look at this, who can we trust article, you think GNC, Target, Walmart, they were all accused of selling adulterated herbals. I know the University of Guelph had gone into health food stores, drugstores. None of the products met label claims. So if you're taking a product, you have to really trust who you're dealing with to make sure that the raw materials are tested and the product works, because otherwise you're going to get results like what you're seeing here, where it's just a disaster area. And so when I was introduced to Neolife, I really was impressed with the science, because the fact that it had been around since 1958, never had a dietary recall. They have a pharmaceutical license for manufacturing. So what that means is they have to list everything on the label. A lot of products do not list everything. So there's all sorts of things that we do not want to have in our bodies that are in those products. And it's in over 50 countries around the world, and it meets or exceeds all the health standards of every single one of these countries. So the whole philosophy of Neolife is based in nature. So it's made by whole food, because that's what our body needs for good health, but backed by solid evidence-based science. So it's very, very important. And as you can see, the Scientific Advisory Board, which is founded by Dr. First, who I talked about, who developed the Beta Guard. It's, in fact, Neolife was the first company to have a scientific advisory board. And when Dr. First saw the whole food philosophy of Neolife, he knew, because he was the co-founder of oral chemotherapy, and when he's doing his research in cancer, he found nutrients food prevent disease. So he wanted to deal with food, and that's why he dealt with Neolife and set up this prestigious board of world-renowned scientists and researchers. And actually on the 28th of January, 4 of them are going to be on our talk, in our kickoff, wellness kickoff. And if you're interested in, seeing right from the source where this information comes, because these guys are not just good looking doctors who endorse a product, they're involved in the research and development of the product. Very, very unique.
Yeah, and that's what drew me to the company, Mary Ellen, was the science. I mean, I know with you, with your migraines and getting results and your kids' health, and I mean, the science, the products work because of the scientists that are behind these products. So I was so fortunate that I was able to hear Dr. Arthur first speak after 1 month of using these amazing products. So highly recommend that you take the time out on January the 28th, listen to these scientists, because you will just be so grateful. And the knowledge that they have to offer is absolutely fantastic. And the publications too, Mary Ellen.
Yeah, the nice thing is all the products do have independent peer-reviewed science behind them. So we know that the products actually work, and they're published in multiple journals. And for instance, our omega-3, our salmon oil was proven to reduce inflammation 68% in just 8 weeks. Like, that's huge, right? You know what I mean? So yeah, and the carotenoids, same thing, published in the American Journal of Nutrition. Like, there's so much research and solid science behind these products. It's not just the ingredients that are said, oh yeah, this has raspberries are good for you. It's far, far more than that. And when people ask, what do I look for? You want to know what this product's made from. Just because it says natural on the ingredient, it can be anything from the ground. You want whole foods, because even as it was published in that recent Lancet study, what are people missing? Why we're not living as long? We're missing whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and wild salmon. And this fills the gap. And that's what Neolife makes their products from. And all the products are non-GMO and gluten-free. So, you know, especially they're tested right, they know right from the seed stock, the raw materials are tested. So you're 100% sure that it's safe.
And this is our foundation, right? You talked about filling the nutritional gaps and you know, so healing the gut is really important, but then supplementing with a good quality a product to fill those gaps, especially when you're looking at the grain oils, because our grains are milled and processed. Our fruits and vegetables, we're not eating 13 servings a day. It's hard to get clean fish where we're eating 3 servings of fresh fish a week. This is like a Cadillac of multis, because it has a little bit of everything in there to fill those gaps in our diet. So these grain oils are critical for cell function, okay? But less gluten than a bowl of gluten-free cereal. So again, it's all the oils from the grain to get your cells healthy. Your unhealthy cells are like the cells on the left. Healthy cells are the cell on the right. Every single cell in your body is surrounded by a good fat, good oil to keep the cell membrane soft. So these grain oils help with energy, getting your cells balanced and working properly. The carotenoids that are in there that Mary Ellen mentioned are your fruits and vegetables, proven to boost your immune system. And 1 capsule in this pack, you're doing 1 pack a day, is equivalent to consuming 80 pounds of raw fruits and vegetables in every box. Then there's our omega-3s that Mary Ellen talked about, tested for 200 contaminants, 0 tolerance, and proven to reduce inflammation 68% in just 8 weeks. Such an incredible product. And then we have a multivitamin in this pack. So like I said, it just fills those nutritional gaps. There's also enzyme activity in there, so it does help with digestion as well. So all the benefits in this pack, from energy right to lifelong cellular health. So then let's quickly look at breakfast. Most people start with carbohydrates, sugar cereals, muffins, bagels, or nothing. Where's the protein? So protein's also important to start your day. And protein is great for energy. It helps with immunity. And a complete protein makes enzymes. So that's why it plays a really big role in digestion. So when you add protein to this amazing pack called Vitality Pack, the energy, we call this a breakfast solution, just a great way to start your morning to fill the nutritional gaps. And our protein is complete. There's nothing artificial, made from whole food. It tastes great. There's no high fructose corn syrup or gluten and no GMO ingredients. It's very easy to digest. And Marilyn, I know those are your grandkids. My kids grew up on this product. It's safe for babies and pregnant moms, and just a great way to start your morning. So again, filling the nutritional gap. So as you can see, Neolife has total health and wellness solution. And tonight we did target on digestion. And But if you don't have a lot of digestive issues, just mild, even starting on that breakfast solution could be a great place to start, because you're getting some enzyme activity in the multivitamin and you're getting the protein to start with the healing. So just so that you know, just start with something like that, something basic, and then you might need to add some of those other things that we talked about this evening if you do have some serious conditions. So how do you get started in using these amazing products? Well, first of all, it's free to become a member of our wellness club. As soon as you join, you get 10% off. To double your savings, 20% discount. All you have to do is put something on NeoShip and you double your savings. So for example, that breakfast solution is a month supply. The Vitality Pack is a month supply. You have that on NeoShip and you get that discount. Also, when you stay on NeoShip, you get all your shipping back. They give it back to you in loyalty points, and you can spend it on other products. And we have a referral program where you can get your products for free as well by referring 3 people. We have fitness challenges, weight loss challenges, and these are what the packs look like. So the Vitality Pack, the breakfast solution, and then when you're doing a weight loss journey, we have something called the weight loss pack. And it has 4 bags of protein because you're doing 2 protein shakes a day. We have a program called Proven 33, which starts with a 3-day detox, going into weight loss. And the success stories we're having on this program is amazing, exceptional for weight loss and also improving fitness levels as well. We do have a vegan option for some people that are plant-based and they're looking at, you know, strictly only plants. Then this is another option, and it does taste fantastic. We also have a group on Facebook called Meal Life Healthy Living Community, where people share amazing stories and testimonials, like life-changing stories. We can invite you to this group if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the power of these incredible products. And then there is one more option. I mean, I was not looking for income, a business opportunity. I was happy being, you know, working as a police officer. But as time went on, I realized that I wanted time freedom. I wanted to work from home, start a family. But if you or someone you know is looking at generating income, and if they love helping people, this is an incredible business opportunity. The income that you can generate, whether it be part-time or to a level where like full-time like myself, just ask the person invited you and we can share how this business journey works as well. So again, if you just want to use the products, get a discount. We welcome you as a club member. If you're looking for part-time income or possibly a career, then we welcome you. If you want to learn more, every Thursday, we do a special presentation like tonight was on digestion, and we focus on different health challenges that people might have and help with some solutions to help you live a more healthier and happier life. So I want to thank you so much for joining us. I know that was a lot of information this evening. I will stop the recording and open up to any questions that you may have. So I want to thank you again, and thank you all for sharing your stories tonight.